Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and a quick update over at the borders between Russia and Ukraine. And before I start, for those that are not subscribed, please subscribe. Because if you don't, then YouTube will not push this to new viewers. If you want to support the channel, you must subscribe. If not, then you are depriving new viewers from ever discovering DPA. So the Ukrainians have launched yet another cross-border attack into Russia, and this time round they are targeting Shebekino, and this place called the Novaya Tavozanka. Novaya Tavozanka. So this is the two locations that the Ukrainians are trying to attack, and they launched two separate raids. If I'm not mistaken. So it's all these fightings in the middle of the night, early morning, and the Ukrainians were attacking in two different directions. One towards Shebekino, from Voschan's direction, and another one from the Ogier towards Novaya Tavozanka. So however, they did not exactly penetrate much or if any of the Russian border. So they were forming up probably in the rear. They are going through Voschansk, and then they were also moving along the river from Ogier to go towards Tavozanka. So let me delete some of this, might be very confusing. So as they are moving towards, and then at Platinivka, they are already spotted by the Russian forces. And the Russian forces, and as they are moving forward, moving into attacking positions, the Ukrainians first launched artillery shelling. They shelled Novaya Tavozanka, they shelled the the border crossing over at Shebekino, and this shelling takes around an hour of shelling as the Ukrainian troops move forward. And after this shelling happens, the Russian forces strike back, and they started to shell the Ukrainian forces. The Ukrainian forces actually barely managed to even reach the border area, and they have to abandon the attack. The first retreat was to Platinivka, to this area here at Platinivka, and then reinforcement came for the Ukrainians, and then they actually tried again. This time round they attacked near Platinivka, and then they attacked from the towards Tavozanka, and another force on the other side of the river. And all these forces also got struck back by the Russian forces as they got shelled and airstriked. And then the Ukrainians eventually have to abandon the offensive, and they started to redraw. So the Ukrainians redraw to Hatishev, and then after that, and then as they redraw, they all redraw even towards Starisia, and towards Vodian, and towards Liman, as they try to do this mass withdrawal out of the AO, the area operations. And all along the way, they got shot at Oksevi, Hatishev, at Voschansk, and even at Starisia. So this entire raid has been extremely unsuccessful, other than creating some headlines and causing some panic within the Shebekino region. The Russians did send reinforcement to help out. The reinforcement come at 4:45 a.m. For more more time-based analysis or reporting about all this thing, do check out the SIPREP. This is just a quick update about how the operations have went. Basically, two attacks. The second attack was reinforced with all the attacks were done with armor or tanks supporting, and the attacking force allegedly, according to Russian Defense Ministry, lost some forces. And again, this is another branded attack, another attack that was branded as by the Freedom Legion of Russia, or the Russian Free Legion, or something like this. So the which I don't think is a real thing. I personally think that it's just nonsensical. Yeah, because if you don't like Russia, you just run away. Yeah, you just migrate. So there's no need to really fight against a nuclear power. So I don't think so. I think it's just Ukrainian forces. And definitely there are foreign legions, because photos has already shown what at least one of them has a British flag on the sleeve. So that's already shown that it's probably international legion. So otherwise this attack didn't really achieve much. But the significant difference is that compared to the previous cross-border raid, the Ukrainian forces did not manage to penetrate into the Russian territory. The previous one actually caused some inquiry within the Russian maybe political circles, as well as outroar by the Russian citizens. This time round, the Russians seems to be a lot more faster in terms of their reactions, where they sent in reinforcement into this area, and helicopters were used in airstrikes, and yeah, the response this time around was way faster. I think the Russians are just alerted to this due to the previous cross-border, the more successful, not successful but more successful cross-border raid, and this time around the Russians just have a better way to deal with such raids. The information coming from pro-Russian source analyzed that all these are part of the counter-offensive, the major counter-offensive that the Ukrainians are doing, and this is partly used to draw Russian attention away from other front lines and whatnot. Personally, I don't think it does that because the Russian forces at this border is a totally separate force, entirely from the ones fighting within the special military operation. So the forces that is deployed along the front lines within Ukraine has nothing to do with this force that is in Belgorod. So or is it Belgorod region here? Let me see. Is this the Belgorod region? This is, yeah, it's still the Belgorod region. So it has nothing to do with the Belgorod region here. So these forces here is border force plus conscripts plus some other maybe mobilized forces that is actually combined here with police and FSB. So supported by Air Force and everything. So this force is entirely independent. So it cannot possibly be a diversionary attack. It doesn't work because the Russians just have more troops once you start to count in the forces within Russia. So I don't think this works as a diversionary. And then unless, like I said before, if you have followed me in other spaces, I did mention the only way is for the Ukrainian to focus all 12 brigades, all offensive brigades, and push for Belgorod. That you will force a major diversion of Russian forces to concentrate to deal with a massive Ukrainian invasion into Russia. If not, this kind of small raids is not going to do a lot. It's just going to make the border region busy, the life of the civilians harder. And I just want to say, the Ukrainians totally did not shell the civilian and residential buildings in within Russia, because YouTube say that the Ukrainians do not shell civilians at all. So I just want to highlight that no, there is no Ukrainian shelling on civilians at all in Russia. So anyway, thank you for watching. Do again press the like button, subscribe. If you're pro-Ukrainian, I know you might not like my analysis of what is this, but it is what it is. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next update.